When I first saw what appeared to be a fast blinking light in the distance, my first thought was it was an airplane or some type of aircraft. I kept watching because I have seen all types of aircraft at all hours and all types of weather at this location. Yet this isn't matching any of the lights of a conventional aircraft uses that I've ever seen. Then as I kept watching it, its flight seemed to get more erratic. So I went and I grabbed my digital flip camera. I really didn't think I was even going to pick up this small blinking light in the distance. I watched as this flashing light UFO spiraled down into the tree line, and then it rose up again. The size was sometimes smaller and sometimes dimmer, with periods of no light at all. I was also still not sure that it was an aircraft. I thought for a minute it was a helicopter, but then its movements were too abrupt and its flight was too quick. I couldn't convince myself it was a UFO, even after these observations. I moved my line of sight, thinking perhaps I could see a little better and get past the tree, dark tree line in the immediate distance. I continued filming, and this was something I wasn't familiar with, and it continued its unusual movements. Little did I know later that when I slowed this down and to observe it better, just for my own curiosity, I noticed something when I made a few minor adjustments to the way the film looked. This particular UFO was changing colors, a wide variety of pale pastel colors and darker colors. Later on in this video that I've made, I tried to match these colors with some picture-in-a-picture blocks. Now, some of these colors I could match fairly easily, but there were some that I could see, but I could not match them. There was one that was like a dark forest green, but at the same time it was bright. So even though I could see it, I couldn't match it. There were other colors that were layered colors. There was one color that was like a purple rod, ultraviolet color, with a blue smear laying on top of it. That color appeared a couple of times, so I just did that as purple because I couldn't do both colors. This is the area where I filmed the UFO, and approximately where that cloud is. I'm going to push this pen in front of the lens and point exactly approximately where it was. The UFO was flying in this area here, right here, up and down. This is the UFO with its colors made observable. Now, I tried to enlarge the video so that the UFO stayed in frame. I did do that for the most part, but it does jump around a bit. I'm sorry for that, but what's important here is the variety of colors. Most colors have a constant flash rate, which when I slowed it down, the video ended up being per flash like 0.2 of a second. A few of the flashes were like 0.3 of a second, and a couple were more than 2 but less than 3. It's important to note here that this UFO may have been in the area on this night for a longer time before I noticed it. I also stopped filming at one point to go and get my binoculars to observe it. That's when it left the area it was in and moved upwards at a 45-degree angle and away at a moderate pace. Like it seemed to be like imitating an aircraft in its lighting with its departure. Unfortunately, I did not get that on film. I wish I had, but I didn't. Anyway, these flashing lights may be nothing at all, but it seems to me that because of the variation in colors and intensities, this may be language. It may be communication between others in the area. You know, like our language is colorful. Yeah, I mean, and that's a term we use. And, you know, how is it we adopted that descriptive analogy anyway? But you can see that the colors are, you know, change so rapidly from one color to the next. And of course, like I mentioned before, some of these colors were multiple, or a color that I could not really accurately copy in the picture-in-a-picture. But still, it gives you the idea of what these colors were. This, of course, is also using the adjustment that I used to show that what the colors are that this UFO, this pulsating orb UFO, looks like. Because, you know, in the beginning you saw how just basically it looked like a white light with mostly just like a red or purple tone occasionally. But they're far more than that, and that's, with this amount of color and this amount of variation in color, I still feel quite confident in saying that this may be some type of communication. Now the spaces between the colors, this is the actual sequence. This is neither slowed down or sped up. It's just, you know, not accurately where the UFO was at the time when I filmed it. And the spaces in between the colors may also be like in between sentences, where maybe it's reading from someone else sending a message back. There was no observable sound. The sound that you do hear in the background of these recordings is the sounds of the crickets that were just in the area, and when they get slowed down they just have a strange sound. So although this particular recording that you're watching now is not slowed down. Wait a minute. Yes, I'm sorry, I apologize for that. This one is slowed down. I have not seen this UFO since this time. I wish I could spend more time looking for it, but I can't. I will say that about 6 months ago in another area that's close to this area, I saw an orange orb floating across the sky, which after I saw it for about 2 minutes, it kind of got bright and then slowly blinked right out. And it kind of reminded me of like a candle in a bag, you know, as the candle started to flutter, and then it would go out like it was one of those floating color bags. But it was really large, so I, you know, can't be sure that that's what it was. I don't think it really was. It was something else. I'm not sure what that was either. And that was just a just a solid orange color, and it was moving across the sky. It wasn't in a pattern like this particular UFO was. I also want to say this is only the second UFO I've ever seen. That is, if the first one was a UFO. I think perhaps this coming summer I'm going to go to this area and camp in hopes of this area perhaps being some reason for this UFO to be over there. Okay, this is an interesting concept that I came up with. What I did is I sped the flashing up, and all I did was use just the colors, not the UFO at all. And it shows two things. One, that the faster you flash these colors, the more they look like just you're observing a kind of a slightly pale white color with some color changes, and it's not going as fast as what the UFO actually flashes. I can't honestly say that this may or may not have an effect on the person watching it. For we don't have any knowledge of what these colors are for. And I really can't take full responsibility for the fact that you're watching this, and this may and somehow change you or change something about you. I know that's far-fetched, but also is seeing something like this in the sky do these types of things. I myself try to remain not thinking that it does do something to you, but I will also say that unless I have a very vivid imagination, I feel that it does. Here are some of the color combos that I can't really recreate, so I'm going to show them to you here. There's a few others, but I didn't want to put them all down. This is long enough as it is. These are just also the magentas were so small, and they had multiple shapes. Sometimes they had saucer shapes. I'm not sure that's important, but they did have different shapes in the different colors and different sizes. It's pink fading into a darker pink. Yellow and purple, pretty unusual. Pink and orange, or red and orange. There's the rods, purple, blue. This is the end. There could be some math to the way the colors appear, how frequently they appear, and what colors they are. That could be figured out and may reveal something else about these orbs.